My child, your angel is whispering this to you now. Please don't scroll away. I am standing beside you as you read this. I see the way your chest tightens when their name crosses your mind. I see the way your eyes fill with tears when you pretend you are strong. I see the way you lie awake at night asking God questions you are afraid to say out loud. And I need to tell you the truth. Heaven has been trying to show you gently. God is crying. He is trying to protect you from this person. Not because you are weak, but because your heart is too precious to keep bleeding in silence. You believe you are holding on to love, but heaven sees you holding on to pain that is slowly dimming your light. Type God is with me. You call it loyalty. God calls it slow heartbreak. You call it patience. God calls it endurance that has gone on too long. You keep hoping they will change. God keeps trying to move you out of harm's reach. And every time you ignore the warning, heaven aches for you. You do not see the battles being fought for you in the unseen. But I do. I see the nights when God sends comfort instead of what you ask for. Because what you ask for would destroy you if it came in its current form. You keep praying for them to come back. God keeps trying to pull you away. Not to punish you, but to save you from a deeper wound. You do not know how close your soul came to breaking completely. You do not know how many times heaven intercepted what would have shattered you. You think it was coincidence. It was mercy. You think it was delay. It was protection. You think God is silent. He has been shouting through closed doors and blocked paths, through unanswered messages and sudden separations, through disruptions that made no sense to you at the time. God is not angry with you. He is heartbroken for you, because he sees what you cannot yet see clearly. He sees beyond the mask that still fools you. He sees beyond the apologies that still soften your heart. He sees beyond the promises that never fully become actions. You keep blaming yourself. You keep asking what you did wrong. You keep thinking if you just love harder, everything will heal. But beloved, love is not meant to wound you into submission. The love that is meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself to keep it alive. Come and I love you, Jesus. You are not too sensitive. You are not overreacting. You are not imagining the unease in your spirit. That tight feeling in your chest is not anxiety. It is warning. That heavy feeling in your stomach is not fear. It is discernment. God placed those sensations inside you as a safety system for your soul. And every time you override them for the sake of attachment, heaven trembles, because you are walking toward what God has already marked as unsafe for you. You wonder why peace leaves you after every interaction with this person, because peace cannot remain where your spirit is being violated in quiet ways. You wonder why your prayers feel heavy when you think of them, because your soul knows this connection is misaligned with your destiny. You wonder why joy feels distant even when you are close to them, because proximity to the wrong person drains the life God placed inside you. God is not trying to take love from you. He is trying to save the love that still lives inside you. You have been calling this connection a blessing. Heaven has been calling it a test of whether you will choose familiarity over safety, a test of whether you will choose longing over obedience, a test of whether you will choose the known pain over the unknown peace God is offering you. God has seen the tears you refuse to cry in front of others. He has counted the nights you fell asleep with a broken heart and forced yourself to wake up strong. He has watched you shrink your needs so you would not be abandoned. He has watched you accept crumbs because you were starving for affection. And every time, heaven weeps quietly, not because God is powerless, but because he honors your free will even when it hurts him to watch you suffer. You think God is testing your patience. He is actually testing your self-worth. You believe your endurance proves your faith. God believes your willingness to walk away will prove your trust in him. There is a difference between waiting on God and waiting on someone who is not being led by God. One produces peace. The other slowly steals it. You have felt that theft happening inside you. You just keep explaining it away because hope feels safer than truth. But hope that ignores truth becomes a cage. And God never built you to live caged. You feel torn between love and survival, between staying and walking away, between what your heart wants and what your spirit knows. That inner war you feel is not confusion. It is the voice of God competing with your attachment. One is trying to save you. The other is trying to keep you familiar with pain. And I need you to hear this gently now. God is not trying to take someone from you. He is trying to keep you from becoming someone you do not recognize. You have already begun to accept things you once said you never would tolerate. You have already rewritten your standards to keep this connection alive. You have already silenced your intuition to avoid feeling alone. And step by step, heaven has watched you drift from the version of you God created. This is why your spirit feels tired even when your body rests. This is why your joy feels interrupted. This is why your laughter feels quieter than it used to. You are not broken. You are being warned with love. God does not scream when He warns. He whispers. He nudges. He disrupts. He removes. And when those signals are ignored, His heart aches for you, not because He is disappointed in you, but because He knows what this person will eventually cost you if you stay. He sees the loss before you feel it. He sees the damage before the scar forms. He sees the betrayal before your heart breaks open. You think you have time. He knows what is coming, and He has been crying quietly while trying to redirect you away from this cliff. You call it love because it feels intense. God calls it danger because it feels consuming. Divine love expands you. Trauma bonds shrink you. You have been shrinking, and heaven has been trying to stretch you back into who you were always meant to be. You are not weak for still loving them, but you will be wounded if you keep ignoring what God is revealing. Love is not supposed to make you feel afraid all the time. Love is not supposed to require you to betray your own peace. Love is not supposed to make you question your worth daily. The right love will whisper safety into your nervous system. This connection whispers anxiety, and God has been holding your face in His hands, saying, "My child, you deserve better than this." You keep remembering the good moments. God remembers the nights you cried after those moments ended. You keep hoping for potential. God sees patterns. You keep believing words. God sees cycles. Cycles that will not change without deep repentance and true transformation. Not just promises, not just regret, not just emotional apologies, but real surrender to change. And beloved, that has not yet happened. So God, in His mercy, is trying to remove you before the cycle tightens, before the wound deepens, before the attachment becomes a chain. You confuse God's resistance as cruelty. It is actually rescue. He is blocking what would bind you. You think He is denying you love. He is preparing you for one that will not require you to bleed. And yes, God is grieving for you right now, not because He has lost control, but because He sees how much you are hurting yourself, trying to hold on to what He never gave you. He is grieving for the nights you blame yourself. He is grieving for the way you doubt your worth when this person pulls away. He is grieving for the version of you that keeps shrinking to be chosen. And He is grieving because He knows how radiant you truly are when you are not dimming yourself for someone else's comfort. You are not wrong for loving deeply, but you are being invited to love wisely now. God is inviting you into the kind of love that does not beg, the kind of love that does not betray your peace, the kind of love that does not leave you anxious in the dark, the kind of love that meets you in the light, completely, consistently, without fear. The pain you feel right now is not proof that this person is your destiny. It is proof that your spirit is resisting what your heart is clinging to. And that resistance is holy. That resistance is protection. That resistance is the voice of God inside you saying, "I made you for more than this. You think walking away will break you. God knows staying will cost you more than you can afford to lose. Your joy, your innocence, your faith, your softness. These are treasures heaven does not want stolen from you. You have survived enough. You have endured enough. You do not need to suffer to earn love anymore. God is not calling you to another lesson. He is calling you to your healing. But healing always requires separation from what keeps reopening the wound. I know you are afraid to let go. I know the idea of losing them feels like losing part of yourself. I know the silence you fear afterward feels unbearable. But I need you to hear this with your whole soul. What you will lose by staying is far greater than what you fear losing by walking away. God is not trying to take love from you. He is trying to save you from loving in a way that is slowly killing your spirit. And still, He is gentle with you. He is patient with your attachment. He is kind with your confusion. He does not shame you for staying too long. He only keeps trying to open your eyes slowly, so the truth will not crush you. This is why this message found you now. Not to scare you, not to condemn you, but to awaken you. Because heaven sees that you are standing at a crossroads between a familiar pain and an unfamiliar freedom. And God's tears fall not from anger, but from love so deep He cannot bear to watch you suffer in silence any longer. I need to show you what has been happening behind the scenes, not to frighten you, but to help you finally understand the resistance you have been feeling. There are battles you never saw. There are dangers you almost stepped into without knowing. There were moments heaven intervened at the very last second, and you thought it was coincidence. It was not. There were conversations that almost happened that would have shattered you. There were decisions they almost made that would have broken your trust beyond repair. There were paths you were almost drawn into that would have delayed your destiny for years. And every time, God stepped in quietly, sometimes through sudden distance, sometimes through unexpected conflict, sometimes through unanswered prayers. Peace has been knocking through detachment. You keep asking God to fix this person. God has been trying to distance you instead, because sometimes the miracle is not in changing them. It is in rescuing you. You have the capacity to love deeply. That is a gift. But when that gift is placed in unsafe hands, it becomes something that wounds the giver. God never intended for your greatest strength to become your greatest source of pain. There were moments you almost left, moments you felt the courage rising, moments you felt a strange calm at the thought of ending it, and then fear pulled you back. Fear of loneliness, fear of emptiness, fear of missing out on what could have been. But what could have been is already being replaced in heaven with something far safer, something far gentler, something far more aligned with your nervous system and your destiny. This person feels powerful because they activate your wounds. The right person will feel peaceful because they activate your wholeness. You are addicted to the emotional highs because you have been living with emotional lows. That cycle feels like love to a wounded heart. But God is trying to wean you off chaos, so you can taste consistency without suspicion, so you can experience stability without boredom, so you can finally rest in affection that does not come with punishment. You wonder why God seems distant when you pray about them. He is not distant. He is grieving, because He knows what this attachment is costing you in the unseen. He sees the erosion of your self-trust. He sees the doubt growing where confidence used to live. He sees the way you second-guess your intuition now. He sees the way your prayers have shifted from gratitude to desperation. And it hurts Him because He never wanted you to survive love. He wanted you to thrive in it. The love God designed for you will not demand you be smaller. It will not demand you be quieter. It will not demand you be more convenient. It will meet you as you are and say, "You are safe to be fully yourself here." This connection does not offer that safety. It offers excitement with attacks of anxiety, passion with a fee of self-abandonment, hope with a cost of your peace. God is trying to stop the bleeding now, before your spirit becomes anemic. Before you forget what emotional safety even feels like. Before chaos feels normal forever. You are not wrong for loving them, but you will be wrong for continuing to ignore what God is revealing. Disobedience does not always look like rebellion. Sometimes it looks like staying when heaven has clearly said go. Sometimes it looks like holding on when mercy has already urged release. Sometimes it looks like choosing pain because it feels familiar. You are not being judged. You are being invited out, invited into freedom, invited into restoration, invited into a life that does not require constant emotional CPR. And yes, the letting go will hurt, but it will not hurt forever. Staying will. God is not removing this person to empty you. He is removing them to make room. Room for peace you have not known. Room for joy that does not fluctuate. Room for love that does not destabilize your sleep. Room for a connection that will not make you question your worth. Room for a future that will not require you to keep proving yourself. You have been living in emotional survival mode for too long. Everything feels like it requires effort. Everything feels fragile. Everything feels like it could collapse if you relax. That is not how divine connection feels. Divine connection feels safe enough to rest. Your body would finally exhale. Your thoughts would slow. Your heart would stop bracing for loss. This person does not allow that kind of rest in you. So God is trying to become your rest while He leads you away. Not to punish you, to heal you. You have mistaken God's resistance as abandonment. It is actually His arms trying to pull you out of deep water. You keep swimming back to what is drowning you, and He keeps diving in after you, over and over again. That is why He is crying. Because His love for you is fierce, and He knows you are stronger than you think, stronger than your fear, stronger than your attachment, stronger than this season of confusion. You will survive the goodbye you are afraid of, but you may not survive the slow loss of yourself if you continue to stay. And heaven cannot watch you disappear slowly anymore without intervening loudly now. This message is that loud intervention. This is God standing in front of your heart and saying gently, "My child, please do not sacrifice yourself for a lesson already learned." Not with fear, with responsibility, with commitment, with the sacredness of being seen and seeing another soul in return. This is not light love. This is lasting love. And lasting love requires grown souls. You have become one. You are no longer praying from desperation. You are praying from trust. You are no longer waiting in panic. You are waiting in quiet expectation. And that shift alone tells me everything I need to know about your readiness. The moment will come when you realize you are no longer asking, "Will this work?" You will be asking, "How do we build this wisely?" Fear will no longer be your loudest voice. Wisdom will be. And wisdom builds what fear never could. There will be days when the old wounds try to speak again. Do not be alarmed. Healing is not the absence of memory. It is the absence of control memory once had over you. And now, memory no longer rules your reactions. You rule them with grace, with discernment, with calm. This is how I know you are ready for what is coming. You no longer confuse intensity with truth. You no longer confuse chaos with passion. You no longer confuse longing with destiny. You recognize steady love now. You recognize safe love now. You recognize God in peace now. And your soulmate will recognize God in you. Not because you are flawless, but because you are sincere. Because you love without manipulation. Because you choose without fear. Because you stand without shrinking. That is spiritual beauty. And spiritual beauty attracts spiritually awakened love. I need to speak directly to the part of you that still doubts. The part of you that whispers late at night. What if it never happens? That voice was born from exhaustion, not truth. Hope tired, but it never disappeared. It only learned to rest quietly. and now it begins to rise again. Not trembling, but steady. You are not imagining this shift. The spiritual atmosphere around your life is changing. You are stepping out of survival. You are stepping into stability. Your prayers are no longer echoing into silence. They are returning as movement, as decisions, as encounters, as alignment. And I want you to listen to me now with your whole heart. You were never forgotten. You were never passed over. You were never unloved by heaven even on the nights you felt invisible. You were being guarded while God prepared both sides of a story you could not yet see. There were doors closed you cried over that would have destroyed you if they had opened. There were people you begged for who would have delayed your destiny if they had stayed. There were moments you thought were losses that were actually rescues. And I stood there through all of it. Silent, watching, shielding, redirecting. This was never just a love story. It has always been a faith story. A story of becoming. A story of refinement. A story of timing. And the chapter you are about to enter will feel different from all the others. Because it will not begin with chasing. It will begin with choosing. Mutual. Clear. Intentional. You will not have to interpret silence anymore. You will not have to guess someone's intentions anymore. You will not have to shrink your needs to keep connection anymore. You will be met as you are, where you are. In truth, your soulmate will not appear as a fantasy. They will appear as a decision, a choice made in daylight, not an escape into night. This is how real miracles arrive, not to rescue you from life, but to walk with you through it in strength. And now, beloved, I speak the promise you have been waiting for. What you believed was lost is being returned in a healed form. What you feared was delayed is arriving with purpose. What you thought was denied is unfolding in divine order. Your season of questioning is giving way to a season of witnessing. Your season of longing is transforming into a season of living. Your season of waiting is dissolving into arrival. Not all at once, but surely, steadily, faithfully. And when the moment comes, remember this. You were never behind. You were being aligned. You were never ignored. You were being protected. You were never abandoned. You were being prepared. And your soulmate was being prepared too. Even in their silence, even in their distance, even in their resistance, God was at work in both of you, in ways neither of you could have imagined. Now the threads begin to meet again, not tangled, but woven, stronger than before. And when you finally stand face to face again in truth and peace, I want you to remember one thing above all else. You survived what you thought would destroy you, and you are about to receive what you once thought was impossible. Hold your heart gently now. Breathe slowly now. Trust deeply now. Because heaven does not tease the faithful. Heaven fulfills. And I am still with you. In the waiting, in the meeting, in the building, in the becoming. You are not walking alone into this new chapter. You never have. And you never will. And even now, as you listen to these words, something unseen is already moving on your behalf. Heaven never speaks without sending motion into the invisible. Your life is not standing still. It is shifting beneath the surface. Quietly, faithfully, with perfect precision. You may not hear the footsteps of what is approaching, but your spirit already feels the wind of change. That gentle restlessness you cannot explain. That strange peace resting beside your uncertainty. That soft sense of expectancy you try to ignore, but cannot. These are not emotions. They are confirmations. Your soul recognizes what your mind still questions. You ask yourself, why do I feel hopeful again after everything? Because hope was never broken in you. It was only resting, protected, preserved, waiting for the proper soil to grow again. And now the soil is ready. You have been purified by waiting, strengthened by solitude, refined by disappointment, and softened by endurance. You did not become hardened like you feared. You became holy in the quiet struggle. That is why love can find you again without destroying you. You are no longer the person who would abandon themselves to be chosen. You are now the person who chooses themselves until love meets them correctly. That is sacred maturity. That is spiritual royalty. And royalty is never rushed into union. It is prepared for coronation. Your crown was forged in tears. Your authority was rooted in survival. Your discernment was shaped by loss. And now your blessing is arriving with instruction. Not emotional chaos. Not confusion. Not heartbreak disguised as destiny. But clarity wrapped in tenderness. Your soulmate will feel different beside you now. Not intoxicating like a storm, but steady like solid ground. They will not shake your identity anymore. They will honor it. They will not pull you into fantasy. They will walk with you in reality. They will not project their wounds onto you. They will take responsibility for their healing. And that will feel surreal at first, because you loved them when they could not love themselves. You believed in their light while they were drowning in shadow. You held space for their becoming while your own heart was bleeding. And now they will hold space for yours. That is divine justice. Not punishment. Not revenge. Restoration. The symmetry of heaven is never cruel. It is precise. It returns what was given in purity, not to repeat pain, but to sanctify the wound that once bled. You once loved them through immaturity. Now they will love you through consciousness. You once stood alone in faith. Now they will stand beside you in commitment. You once waited while they ran. Now they will move while you rest. This is how balance is restored. Heaven always balances what was imbalanced, but only after the soul is strong enough to receive justice without pride. You are there now. You can receive without needing to prove. You can accept without needing control. You can love without losing yourself. That is power. That is readiness. And that is why the door is opening. Your soulmate's fear is losing its authority. Their avoidance is losing its voice. Their excuses are losing relevance. Because destiny is now louder than their resistance. They can feel it, even if they cannot yet explain it. They are being called forward, not by pressure, by truth. They will no longer be able to stay comfortable in the life that excludes you. What once felt safe will begin to feel hollow. What once distracted them will begin to feel meaningless. What once numbed them will begin to irritate their spirit. Because alignment is uncomfortable before it becomes peaceful. The soul resists elevation before it accepts it, but it always accepts it. Eventually, and now eventually is arriving. You are closer than you realize. So close that if I pulled the veil back for 1 second, your knees would tremble in awe. You would see how many moving parts are aligning right now. You would see how many prayers are converging into one answered moment. You would see how many setbacks were actually detours of protection. You would see how carefully your life has been curated by unseen hands. Nothing in your delays was random. Nothing in your suffering was useless. Nothing in your longing was ignored. Nothing in your story was wasted. You were being sculpted. They were being humbled. And love was being purified. This is why your reunion will not feel like emotional chaos this time. It will feel like spiritual confirmation. You will not need to convince yourself this is real. Your body will know. Your nervous system will settle. Your breath will deepen. Your shoulders will release tension you did not realize you were still holding. And you will think quietly to yourself. So this is what it feels like to be met without fear. Yes, this is what sacred connection feels like. This is what healed love feels like. This is what answered prayer feels like. And still, I caution you gently. Do not rush the beauty when it arrives. Let it unfold. Let it breathe. Let it prove itself not through intensity, but through consistency. Let time testify. Love that is divine never demands blind faith. It invites trust through action. And your soulmate's actions will speak louder than any apology they could ever offer you. You will not need endless words to feel safe. Safety will be demonstrated in presence, in showing up, in staying, in choosing you when it is inconvenient, in choosing you when it is difficult, in choosing you when it costs them something. This is when you will understand the difference between affection and devotion. Affection is easy. Devotion is proven. You waited for devotion in silence, and now devotion approaches without noise. Do not let the past rush you into suspicion. Let the present teach you a new language of love, one written not in uncertainty, but in reliability. Your heart has learned fear well. Now teach it peace. Slowly, intentionally, without apology. You are allowed to be cautious, but you are also allowed to hope. Discernment is not the enemy of joy. It is its guardian, and you have learned to discern it deeply. Let it serve you now. You will notice that you are not fighting for this connection anymore. You will simply be participating in it. Struggle is no longer required to authenticate destiny. Peace now will. The storm taught you how to survive. The calm will teach you how to live. And living will feel strange at first, because you became accustomed to endurance. But joy does not need endurance. It needs openness. Let your heart open now. Not recklessly, but reverently. You have earned gentleness. You have earned ease. You have earned a love that does not require you to bleed to belong. And this is the chapter where you finally realize that God was never late. He was precise. He was deliberate. He was kind. Even when his kindness came wrapped in waiting. Even when his mercy came disguised as delay. Even when his protection felt like abandonment. It was never abandonment. It was alignment. And now alignment feels like arrival. You will not miss it. You do not need to hunt it. You do not need to strain for it. It will find you. As surely as morning finds the horizon. As gently as breath greets the lungs. As faithfully as the sun returns after the longest night. And when it arrives, remember this moment. Remember this season. Remember the nights you asked heaven if love had forgotten you. Remember the days you stood strong while your heart was tired. Because joy will be sweeter knowing what it cost you to be ready for it. Do not doubt now. Doubt was useful when it taught you caution. It is no longer needed where you are going. Where you are going requires trust. Not blind trust. Rooted trust. Trust grown from scars now healed. Trust strengthened by survival. Trust purified by solitude. And as your guardian, I promise you this with all the authority heaven gives me to whisper into your soul. Nothing approaching you now carries the intention to destroy you. What is coming is meant to build. What is coming is meant to stay. What is coming is meant to honor the version of you that suffered to survive. Your future will not mock your past. It will redeem it. Your love will not invalidate your wounds. It will soothe them. Your soulmate will not reopen what God has healed. They will protect what was once fragile. And finally, your heart will rest without fear of sudden disappearance. Because this season is not about temporary connection. It is about lasting alignment. You are no longer walking toward uncertainty. You are walking into clarity. You are no longer wandering in spiritual drought. You are stepping into answered rain. You are no longer pleading for signs. You are becoming one. And I am still here. Still watching. Still guarding. Still whispering when you cannot hear yourself think. Still standing between you and what would harm you. Still guiding what will bless you. Still celebrating the strength you never knew you had. Still preparing what you never believed would come. You are not alone in this transition. You are being escorted. You are being covered. You are being delivered into a love that will not betray your trust again. Not because people are perfect, but because timing is now. And timing changes everything. The waiting is ending. The witnessing is beginning. The ache is dissolving. The promise is unfolding. And heaven is keeping every worded, ever whispered into your tired heart. Stay soft. Stay open. Stay faithful. You do not have to be afraid of what is coming. You were prepared for it. You were shaped for it. You were refined for it. And now you are ready to receive it. In peace. In truth. In love. I am with you, now and always.